Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be going over Dimir Valki. This is a blue-black control deck built around the combination of Jace Reawakened, new to Timeless with OTJ, and Valki, God of Lies. So basically how this works is you get Jace, and you use Jace to plot Valki, and then the following turn, you can cast not only the front half of Valki for free, but also the backside. So, of course, you can only do this on turn 5, since you can only get Jace down on turn 4 and then Valki on turn 5, but it's still a 7 mana Planeswalker for 2 mana, which is really powerful. And as you might notice, I'm not running the full 4 of either of these. This is not an all-in combo deck. It's just a control deck with your standard suite of card draw, interaction, removal, just ways to slow down the opponent while we advance our game plan. Now, before I get into the full deck tech, I do have some things to plug. First off, my Patreon, link in the description. I've got an in-depth guide on this deck up on there right now, so if you want to take your skill with it to the next level and learn the ins and outs, tips and tricks, sideboard guide, everything you need to know on how to play the deck is in that article, so I highly recommend checking that out. Also, join my Discord, link in the description, as is the Patreon. Discord is the best place to ask me questions, talk with me, get early access to deck lists, all kind of fun stuff, and patrons do get some extra perks in there as well, so definitely be sure to check that out. All right, without further ado, let's get into the deck tech. So this deck, as I mentioned before, built around Jace Valki, and the supporting cast is mostly just a bunch of 1 and 2 mana interaction. We do have a lot of card filtering because we do eventually need to find Jace Valki. I would say a decent percentage of games come down to Jace Valki. Of course, we can outgrind our opponent with Lurrus as well, really strong. But we do have a playset of Baubles, which is both good with Lurrus and just digs really deep with all of our fetch lands, and it's good with Delve for dig through time. And we also have 4 Brainstorm, which is just kind of a broken card. Of course, there's Bowmasters in the format, so it's kind of rough in some regards, but it's still just kind of an absurd card in between these two. And of course, dig through time, which I'll get to in a second. We get to see a ton of cards, so we're pretty good at actually assembling a combo once we get to the point in the game where that's relevant, because of course we can only cast Jace on turn 4, but we also might still want to be just interacting with the opponent and kind of slowing the game down at that point. Now, for slowing the opponent down and interacting with them, first off, we have a suite of 1 mana removal spells. Now, these drop off pretty quickly. I mean, Fatal Push is just kind of nuts, but then I'm running 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Cut Down, and 2 Stern Scolding. Stern Scolding, Cut Down, both are just like kind of worse Fatal Pushes, but 1 mana interaction is just so broken, and especially in this deck, which really needs to be mana efficient. So you're kind of just forced to run some number of these, and I'm just running a split because Cut Down is better on the draw when you need to like answer a Deathray Shaman or whatever, and Stern Scolding is nice for like cleaning up Bowmasters and stuff like that. And then we've only got 2 Thoughtseize, which might seem a little weird because Thoughtseize is just a really strong card, but Thoughtseize is also kind of clunky in multiple, especially in a control deck where we're very reactive. Thoughtseize can just kind of cause some issues if you draw multiples, or it's not great against aggro. So I found 2 to be the best number. I was running 4 for a while, and it just didn't feel great all the time. I think I'd rather have a couple more cheap removal spells like Cut Down. But definitely these numbers can be tweaked according to the metagame. Now, onto the 2 mana slot. Oh, I forgot to mention also a Singleton Spell Pierce. Just a nice one up to have. Definitely could see going up to 2. It's a pretty powerful card. So for our 2 drops, of course, we've got Jace Valki, but also we've got a playset of Mana Drain, which is just also a broken card. Probably one of the most broken cards in Timeless, considering that it's literally banned in Legacy, which most cards in Timeless are not. But this card has basically just never been legal in a format other than Vintage, and for good reason. It's absurd. Now, this deck isn't the best Mana Drain deck ever, but we do have Lurrus, so getting a couple of mana, bringing Lurrus to hand is really strong, and we've also got stuff like Lorraine Revealed, and maybe if you don't have enough cards in graveyard, it can help your dig through time. So it still can do some stuff, and also Mana Drain can just here and there help you hard cast the backside of Valki, Tibalts, Cobblestone, Compostry, fetch a Steam Vents, and just kind of go ham pretty early. So Mana Drain is just really just a broken card. I mean, this deck would be playing 4 counterspells if Mana Drain wasn't legal, so the extra mana is just gravy, and it's really great tasting gravy. We also got 4 Orcish Bowmasters because we're playing Timeless, so of course we have 4 Orcish Bowmasters. What were you expecting? Card's just broken, and it's basically the only win condition in this deck outside of Jace Valki. It's often how you kill your opponent, even once you have Jace Valki going. You can bring it back off Lurrus. It's really efficient. It's just great. Not much to say about it, to be honest. And our last interaction spell is a pair of Drown Locks. Drown Lock is nice and flexible because it's another unconditional counterspell. Well, kind of unconditional. Sometimes they won't have enough cards in graveyard, but usually that doesn't happen, especially if you're like killing the other creatures and fetch lands and stuff like that. But it's both an unconditional counterspell and an unconditional removal spell. And being a removal spell that can kill any creature is actually pretty important because because of Reanimate, there's a bunch of like Troll of Khazad-dûms and stuff floating around, and Vein Rippers or whatever. So being able to answer a bigger threat with this that Fatal Push couldn't necessarily hit or cut down, it's nice to have a pair of these. And yeah, now for the kind of more top end, Lorien Revealed, this technically counts as a land. Maybe we should throw it in here, but it's also just kind of pretty good with mana drain because sometimes you end up with extra mana and just need to draw 3. And then we also have 3 dig through times. Now, 3 might be a lot of dig through times. It might seem like that, but dig is just incredibly strong because this deck is so good at putting cards in the graveyard. We've got a total of 8 fetch lands, which are getting each Surveil lands, and Lorien Revealed, and Bauble, and Brainstorm, and all this cheap interaction. I mean, in a lot of games, you'll just go turn 1 fetch land for Undercity Sewers, put a card in the graveyard, Bauble, 33 cards, untap, counter something, play another fetch land. On turn 3, you can already cast a 2-mana dig through time. It's just a broken card. And you basically want to see one in every single game. Now, the reason I'm not running more is because it does kind of cannibalize itself in 4 a lot. And this deck is really good at seeing a lot of cards, so you'll find your dig through times when you need them. And dig through time is part of the main engine of this deck outside of Jason Valki, which is just kind of Mystic Sanctuary loops. So once you've got dig through time going, as long as you've got a fetch land or a Lorien Revealed, you can grab Mystic Sanctuaries and keep putting dig through time back on top. Now, there's only 2 Mystic Sanctuaries because after the 3rd dig through time, your opponent's probably pretty dead. And it can be a little clunky if you draw it early. Could see going up to 3 maybe, but around 2 Mystic Sanctuary is a good number, I think. Now, Mystic Sanctuary is just such an unbelievably broken card. It's really good with dig through time for just creating that end game value engine I said, but also just really good for putting whatever you need back on top, Drama Lock, a Fatal Push, whatever. Sometimes you just go Mystic Sanctuary, put a counterspell on top against an opponent that's empty-handed and watch their soul slowly leave their body. One of my favorite parts about playing this deck is just kind of letting your opponent know that, yeah, you actually have no outs. And that's a nice way to lock them out. You can also do some cute things like putting a spell back on top and then drawing with Bauble or Valki or whatever. So yeah, Mystic Sanctuary is kind of broken, and the whole mana base is built around that. As you might notice, we only have 2 non-islands in Otawara and Swamp, both of which serve their own purposes. So I'm pretty sure we have 20 lands plus the 3 Lorien Revealeds, which is not a ton for a control deck. We've also got 4 Bauble for Brainstorm, so we actually have generally no mana issues when it comes to drawing lands. And flooding isn't as big of an issue because of how good fetch lands are in this deck. They can get either an Undercity Sewer or a Mystic Sanctuary a lot of the time. But also, mana screwing isn't too much of an issue because we just got a lot of card selection. And so yeah, mana base other than the Mystic Sanctuary is pretty stock. I mean, basic Swamp is nice to just have if you need like a painless Fatal Push or play around Blood Moon or whatever. Otawara is just pretty good, nice to have. Comes up, they bounce something more often than you get screwed out of Mystic Sanctuary, I find, but you could just run another island in its place if you wanted to. 2 Wiregrave, 3 just makes your mana painful for no reason. 1 means that sometimes you won't be able to get untapped black, so 2 is the right number. 1 of Steam Vents for casting Valki. Now it's a Steam Vents rather than a Blood Crypt because we have a lot of fetches for islands and not swamps, so we want to maximize the number of red sources. You don't want more than 1 source. And then all the blue fetches. Could be running another fetch or 2, but then they wouldn't be able to get Mystic Sanctuary, which makes them a lot worse and make the mana painful. And we also have Lorien Revealed as fetch lands, so I think the 8 fetch lands is a good number. Now onto the sideboard. So first of all, we've got some interaction from combat decks. Pithing Needle is really good against Necropotence, and has some other applications elsewhere. Some people bring it in against this deck because it stops Valki, which is okay, but not great in the mirror, obviously. Unlicensed Hearse. Just some nice graveyard hate. The reason I'm running 2 Hearse and only 1 Soul Guide Lantern, even though Soul Guide Lantern is better, it's just like an instant wipe of the graveyard, is because, or also a new card, why I'm not running Surgical, is because Unlicensed Hearse is really good in these kind of grindy games where you're both relying on your dig through times and arrows and Snapcaster Mages, and it becomes like a 10-10 in the late game and threatens lethal. It's a nice card to just bring in the grindy matchup because a lot of decks just utilize the graveyard because fetch lands make it so easy to put cards in the graveyard, so why wouldn't you? So yeah, Licensed Hearse is a nice card to have. Not running Surgical because I think Soul Guide Lantern is better in this deck, both because you can bring it back off Lurrus, and I'm also just kind of low on Surgical. We don't have the 4 Thoughtseizes anyway to be able to, take a random combo piece, but I just found Surgical not to be amazing. Definitely a card you could run. I just don't really see a reason to. Yeah, as for some removal for the aggro matchups, you got a cut down and then 2 Shieldred's Edicts, which sometimes you bring against creature decks, but also is just nice for answering these bigger creatures like I was talking about, Dun and whatnot. And for entering Planeswalkers. So it's a kind of flexible card that you can bring in a lot of matchups. Also got another Thoughtseize for the grindy matchup, and then some counterspells. Spell Pierce, Channel Lock, Mystical Disputes, and we've got a Sauron's Ransom as just another card draw spell to help grind away. And yeah, that pretty much does it with the sideboard. A lot of wiggle room in the sideboard because, it's kind of just based on the mid game. Basically, any blue or black card that works with ours can go in here. But I think I like this configuration at the moment, and then of course, it's definitely worth changing once the meta shifts. Yeah, let's get into the games. All right, looks like we got a pretty solid hand here. Hopefully, we're playing with aggro with this cut down and Stern Scolding, but we don't need to keep a hand that's really too biased in one direction or another because we have a lot of card selection. I'm going Mortuary. Honestly, could be like, okay, it's Titan. Was confused for a second, but yeah, this is definitely Titan. Because they're running a spelunking version, which just gives the Titan haste right away. Theoretically, this matchup is really, really bad. Because kind of hard to race. Like it's literally just hard to race Field of the Dead with this deck. We're kind of focused on taking it to a really long game, and Field of the Dead kind of goes ham. But it looks like our opponent doesn't have too good of a hand. And I was just about to say that the Jace Valky thing actually makes this matchup a lot better than it used to be, because now we actually can put on a pretty reasonable clock in time. That being said, definitely still not a great matchup. There are like potential sideboard cards to run for it that would make it a lot better. Let me think about what I'm doing here. I'm looking for a counterspell here probably. So I think I'll just play a Polluted Delta. Do I want to cycle the Rain Revealed first is the question. I can't actually kill both creatures, so I can't stop a whatchamacallit, a natural order, but I will hold up Stern Scolding in case they draw another Grazer or something like that. I think I'll just get a Surveillant with Polluted Delta. No reason to cycle the Lorien quite yet. I think I might just be bringing Luris to hand on 3 if I don't find anything, though. Because I do really need to put a clock on my opponent. If I find like 1 counterspell or maybe 2 that should last me until the end of the game, and Valki will be helpful in doing that, but I can't really give them infinite time because they will just get to 7 lands and they will play a second Field of the Dead and start cracking fetch lands, and it just kind of spirals out of control pretty quickly. So that definitely makes this matchup difficult. Here with this, I'm just getting a Mystic Sanctuary and then grab a Surveillant. Don't need the Steam Vents. Putting Steam Vents to Graveyard does mean that we are now no longer able to actually cast Valki at all. But I have a Jason hand, so I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. No counterspell, so I'm just going to bring Lars to hand. It's not really worth bluffing, because if they have it, they'll just go for it. Not much they can do otherwise, and having Lars in hand just speeds up the clock a bit, which is good. Looks like they're just gonna... We got something. Oh, dear. Actually, we're fine, because they don't have any of the lands that... They don't have a Castle Kieran Briggs, so presumably they're getting a Titan. They could also just, like, get Field of Dead going faster, but that would be kind of crazy. Of them, not even gonna lie. If I had to guess, they're just getting a Titan. Yeah, and then... Yeah, this is kind of awkward. We kind of whiffed on a counterspell for a bunch of draws, and then immediately found it. Never mind, all good. All good. What do I want to do here? I'm gonna play Jace and Mana Drain. So I'm just thinking if I want to put a Thoughtseize on top. The answer is actually yes, because any cards... Oh, shoot. Let me not skip my turn. Do that. Any cards they draw here, they're just casting the head anyway, so they actually could top deck something. Usually Thoughtseize is bad late in the game because you don't have no cards left in hand. Can't Thoughtseize at the top of the deck. But in this case, since they've got this Titan, they've got a cast, and look, they played the fetch land, which they would save for Field of the Dead if they had another land to play. So this kind of implies that they have spells in hand, and I think just kind of insulating myself from that is going to be good. And they are a bit away from Field of the Dead because they have played 2 of the same land. Now, 2 of the same land being 2 Field of the Deads isn't great for me, but at least it comes on a bit of a delay. At least there's that. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and brainstorm here. See what I got going. Okay, mana drain. Yeah, so I don't think we need to cut down another Stern Scolding. Just plop those back on top without thinking too much about it. Here's what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sack this. I don't actually need to put anything on top of the Mystic Sanctuary. I'm just looking for more Bowmasters right now because that'll actually let me kill my opponent. And that's gonna be in combination with the J Salt to play out a bunch of creatures at some point, I think. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cast this Lorien Revealed, draw 3, go for a Thoughtseize. They do their Atraxa. Don't mind seeing that. And then I'm just gonna Luris, plot, hold up mana drain, Bowmasters, they don't do anything. Yeah, we should be good. Got their 6th land type. Also possible that they missed a land drop and draw spells, which is actually kind of exactly what I want, weirdly enough. Because I can find infinite counter spells, but I can't find is infinite land destruction spells. And chewing through these fill-out tokens could get a little tricky. Though at this point, I think it's like the game's pretty much locked up because there's just no way they're overcoming this Tibalt. And I mean, eventually I'm just gonna exile their graveyard, cast a bunch of Titans, and go crazy. I think I'll just go ahead and loot what I got going on. I think I can throw back a Spell Pierce at this point. Go ahead and play the Luris. Do I actually have anything in the yard to work with? I have a Bauble. Well, you get to know at least what's going on of the opponent's deck. And that looks like probably one of their worst draws because it's a land that doesn't actually help them get closer to Fear the Dead. That's nice. It is nice. I think I'm just gonna play this Spelunking. Why not? Get a little ramp going. Sounds like fun. Aurora is, I guess, non-zero. Play this Overgrown Tomb, enters tapped, and then it enters untapped. Nice. And then I'll probably just go ahead and Fatal Push to shut off Natural Order. Get over some damages, and I just have this Mana Drain and Dig Up. It's probably the case that I'm like sequencing slightly suboptimal here, but I don't think anything actually matters. Because at this point, I can actually outraise the zombies pretty quickly with this Tibalt. We need to hit like some stuff off the top of their deck eventually, but it'll be fine. Okay, yeah, so Snow Covered Forest coming in handy because now this does let them turn on their Field the Dead, make some tokens. But that is a-okay. We have plenty of cards in the yard. Guess we already have a manager in hand. Doesn't matter what we do. And just grab Genalock. It'll push, sure. Now we're just gonna start pushing these zombies and getting in. And as you can see, like, because of the early Valki, we're actually just easily racing this. Archdruid's Charm, feature a land card, possible encounter, exile target for enchantment. I mean, might as well just use this as a bite spell, right? Oh. Alright, and the next turn this looks like we're probably just ulting both walkers and going crazy. Guess I need this more than the... Nah, actually Stern Scolding is the worst card in my hand. Play Bauble. Take a peek. Yep, nothing to worry about, we'll just counter that. Play an Undercity Sewer untapped. Don't need another Bauble. And yeah, they're just dead here. They both have no outs because no draws get there, and because I know what they're drawing, so be good. Yeah, basically, once we find a Bowmasters here, that'll be a bunch of damage stacking up because of the Jace. So I think that's gonna be the plan. Yeah, I could get a little fancy and like dig and then mana drain it to have a bunch of mana on my turn, but I just don't think that's necessary. In fact, I could do something cute where I ritual with mana drain on my turn by going first main, dig, double it, mana drain, double it, and then get like +8 mana at the end of my turn, basically. But that just seems so unnecessary. Oh, wait, that's so broken. I actually don't need to pay colored mana, so I can just exile 8 cards. Wait, that's kind of absurd. Hold on. That's gonna be great. That's definitely gonna find us our Bowmasters. So let me just do the Jace first, and then I guess we are exiling our Graveyard, so this is technically kind of clunky. But it doesn't really matter because I'm just gonna exile cards that I don't care about. Second bobble, counter spells. Sure, removal spell. And we're just gonna dig twice, looking for Bowmasters. Nope, no Bowmasters, that's fine. And okay, no Bowmasters again. That's still fine. So now the most efficient way to dig. I guess we can go brainstorm twice. Maybe I should have played a Fesha Shuffle in between. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, now we're chilling. This should be. This is actually way more than lethal. And yeah, because Titan just is so reliant on just a couple specific spells resolving, if we can counter that and actually get like a good clock engine going, actually get to killing them, then they're gonna be in trouble. All right, so against Titan, we can cut a bunch of just bad cards. Bring in Thoughtseize, bring in. Let's see. I suppose Spellpierce isn't the absolute worst. Gonna bring in Drown on the Lock probably. Spellpierce, fine. Shielded Edict. Wondering if I want anything else. Do I want like Hearst to put on a fast clock? That does not seem good. Because I can always chump with zombies at that point anyway, and if I'm winning, I'm already winning anyway. Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe these fatal pushes are bad. Actually, the fatal pushes are really bad. That's the thing. So maybe we have room for like a Sauron's Ransom and could just bring in Mystical Disputes. How bad is that? I mean, it just counters our spell, right? Yeah, Summer is not very well suited for Titan because I just have not been seeing it at all, basically. But there are a ton of sideboard cards like you just could like jam 2 Massacre Worms in the sideboard and the matchup becomes basically unlosable. Or like Virulent Plague or whatever. Could even like Extraction there. The world's kind of your oyster. Well, I will just burn in the 2 Mystical Disputes. Maybe that's goofy, but not seem like the worst. Actually, no, maybe I am supposed to have some number of fatal pushes so I can chew through zombies. That actually seems a little bit better because that was relevant in the previous game. And maybe I can keep them off a natural order if I don't have my spell pierce or whatever. Well, can't keep this. Yeah. Fine. Don't really want to go to 5. Lifter doesn't really matter. Card advantage doesn't really matter. Just having disruption and a fast Jace Valky is all that matters. But there we go. That's half of it. This deck just sees a ton of cards between like Bobble, Fetch is already a ton of cards, and once we find Dig, it's also gonna dig us pretty far. Get it? Dig. So that part's not touring. Mostly just looking for like a mana drain here since they are liable to not like actually put enough cards in the graveyard for this drought to be effective. If they're like using Skeleton's Cryings and Fetch lands and stuff, then they'll get there, but for now they're not. Also relevant. They do have probably Veil of Summer's post board, but we can also set up a fast Valky thanks to mana drain. That's another thing to keep an eye out. Every time I name a card, it just shows up. Maybe I should just like hit Arena with the Black Lotus. Time Walk, please. Unlucky. Oh, there's the dig. I mean, to be fair, these are all like 4-ofs, so it's not like that shocking that the 4-of that I put in my deck is actually there, but you know, it's nice to see. Yeah, this mana drain is really good because now we can like do something where we mana drain the okay. Oh shoot. Wait, that's actually kind of awkward. Because that huh. I guess I actually don't want that to resolve. Because that's now. Okay, it's kind of goofy to do this for sure, but I kind of have to mana drain this because okay, they have a Veil of Summer. So we bait out the Veil, that's fine. It shuts off this Drown, so I wouldn't have a counterspell up. I only have one counterspell up anyway. Oh, that's actually kind of perfect. It makes this dig so much worse. It did seem kind of annoying. But this is fine. Because now... the reason I felt kind of safe is because I didn't think I would need to hold up Mana Drain next turn. Because they are... they would be able to natural order, they'd have a creature. Otherwise, I probably would have just held the Mana Drain, because that's kind of a risk. Oh, shoot. Cavern of Souls. Maybe I should have mana drained that. Didn't think about that. That's kind of bad. Hmm. Okay, yeah, this is actually kind of awkward. Get a watery grave. Yeah, I'm still gonna mana drain it, and then I can play Valki and exile it, and then cast it myself. But then they've got 2 field that's going, and that's gonna be kind of tough to fight through. Oh, and a second unlock. Yeah, this is suboptimal. And we're missing land drops. Okay, yeah, so probably should have mana drained the Sylvan Scrying, because also it's possible it could have like made them miss a land drop. Though if they're missing lands here, then I'm probably gonna be fine anyway. Sure, I'm not gonna counter that. You know what I could do? It's a bit of a gamble. Okay, it's not necessary. I was gonna say I could Valky them to take their Titan, because I can't counter it. But actually, thought this is perfect because if they have 1 Titan, then adios, and if they have 2, then I can also play Valky. Looks like there might be thinking about Veil of Summering. I think I might as well just counter the Veil of Summer though, because it's not countering the Titan, right? So why not? Oh dear. Yeah. So I'm forced to take the natural order. And then I have to pray for no untapped land, which is basically almost every land. Guess I should have mana drained post combat because of the floating mana. Oh, well, they found a tap land. Nice. Uh, and now I can answer the Titan, but then okay, thank God they. Oh no, they can abrupt decay it. Okay, so that still doesn't work. And oh, they also have a second one. Yeah, I think I'm just dead. Trying to think if there's like anything I can do here, and I am coming up blank, so I'm just gonna save time. Okay, yeah, that's we drew kind of badly. I want to just stuff line up pretty well. I don't know. Us in Peace is kind of a bit unconventional, but I can see the vision. Do I want to change anything? I don't think I'm like really. It really makes sense to cut Dig anyway, though, because they can have that many, and I can always just like spell pierce it or whatever. But yeah, drawing all those drowns was not great. And Veil of Summer makes this matchup a lot harder post board. The card is honestly one of the bigger reasons why. Literally, just like one of the biggest reasons with this deck, flat out, is the existence of Veil of Summer, because basically every green deck has a bunch on the sideboard, and it's just so good. Like it's 1 mana cryptic command. That's absurd. And it doesn't even get hit by Mystical Disputes. We have to bring in Spell Pierces to fight over it. It's kind of brutal. Not too brutal, but not great. Definitely not unbeatable though. Okay, opponent's on a Multi 6. It's nice. Titan's a pretty consistent deck. This isn't like it that often unless you're like missing a Titan or whatever. But if they just have like access to less cards, that's gonna be really good. Because either it means that they're not really casting spells or they're not really playing lands. They can't function without either. And this is like because they need so many lands for Field of the Dead, which is the main issue here. Thoughtseize is great here, which is why I kept it on top. I guess that's kind of a self-explanatory statement, but I'm just gonna take the Sylvan Scrying. They don't actually have triple green for this charm, and by the time they do, I can try to counter it. Yeah, Draenor really just suboptimal here. I mean, this list is just not set up to beat Titan at all, basically. But I haven't really bothered with trying to beat Titan because I just have not seen it at all. Looking for ideally a fetch land here. Thoughtseize. So let's think, right? I can Thoughtseize. That's 3 cards in graveyard. Play Mystic. Hold up Mana Drain. I will keep Thoughtseize on top just because it has the potential of mana screwing them, and then I'm hoping to eventually get to this dig. Okay, so yeah, they've got absolutely nothing. I'm just hoping that they can draw into something I can mana drain to spend my mana. Otherwise, I'm probably just killing the Grazer. Oh, please draw Titan. On top lane Titan, I get to mana drain it. That would be nice. Nope. Yeah, I think they're not going to be at enough cards in graveyard for this round to matter for a while. This puts cards in the graveyard for dig, makes natural order worse. I think it's just a fine play. As weird as it is to say, I really need them to cast something here, or to me to draw a land. Unfortunately, I won't be able to hard cast Valky because I don't have a fetch land to get red with. There we go. All right, now I should be chilling because now, I don't lose to Veil of Summer. They're gonna guess it's feel it though. Actually, hold on, it's active. Didn't realize they were just hitting every land drop. That's kind of scary. Okay, maybe I do lose this. I gotta tap Steam Ends and desperately need a Jace right now. Yeah, I'm actually not sure if I can catch up. Okay, well, there's a Jace, and I guess I'll take a Brainstorm. I don't know. No Wraths makes this very rough. Yeah, I guess I'll Brainstorm. Okay, found the land anyway, so I need to Brainstorm right away. Yeah, I mean, play Jace. The issue is this Valky's just gonna die to combat damage. I really, them just not letting me use my mana drain to get mana off it is kind of just gonna lose me this game. Whether intentional or not, because it does kind of seem like they just have nothing in hand. Maybe keeping that Thoughtseize on top was bad. I was hoping that I would be able to just keep them from hitting their land drops, but they just drew like land every turn, which somehow in this case is actually what they want. I don't know. I can't let that hold, and I need the mana. Yeah, this is not great. So they're gonna have 10 power with the zombies. Valky goes up to 7. What am I even supposed to do? I just need to find up Bowmasters. Try looting. I mean, Edict does something, I guess. I can't not cast the Valky, that's the thing. Or the Tibalt, I suppose. That's not a winning proposition. Okay, sure. So we can kill some zombies. I don't really want any of these, but I also don't have a shuffle. So I'll put the what am I putting away? Brainstorm Mystic. Do I want to Mystic something on top? So I think what I'm gonna do, I need to spend my floating mana now on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, which is Edict, Abrupt Decay, Mana Drain, so I'd rather hold on to the Fatal Push. That'll be more mana efficient in the future. Don't actually need to put anything on top with Mystic, so I just won't. Abrupt Decay with my floating mana. Edict, sack a token. And Valky lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Valky lives, and if we can deal with 2 zombies a turn, then we should be fine. Obviously, they have a fetch land that's gonna be really rough because that's gonna be 4 at once. Gotta find some blockers, man. And I desperately, I mean, they gotta play into this mana drain. Like, surely the card in their hand isn't the Veil of Summer, right? They gotta play into the mana drain. Because that, if we get like a fat mana drain off, then we can just like kind of go ham with cards off Tibalt because it's been colorless mana on them. Can I afford to not Fatal Push? That's the question. Opponent's really thinking hard about this. Oh, please make that attack. Please. Okay, well, that answers our question for us. Nice. That's perfect. Okay, and now... Actually, now I could just dig. That's more mana efficient. I'm just going to do that. Adios, Graveyard. Okay, Bowmasters is perfect, and I guess I'll take... it's just another dig. I don't know. We're going to be filling the graveyard pretty quickly here. Let's see. Well, that was kind of a whiff. What do they got on top? Presumably 2 lands in hand. Prime time on top. I think that actually might just be good for me. Kind of unsure how to classify it. Um. Okay, I just gotta pass. Can't bring Lars to hand quite yet. But after this mana drain, actually after this mana drain, we're gonna go crazy. Cast it. No! Oh my god, they have the Cavern of Souls? That's really, really bad. Oh, that's really not good. Oh, we're so cooked. Yeah, I mean, Cavern's just another reason why this matchup is really difficult. Uh, yep. So wait, we still get the mana drain, right? I think. Yeah, I still get the mana drain now, which is why I did that. Works like that with Veil of Summer too. But no, they're just gonna get us another fielder that makes 6 zombies. It's just too much to deal with. It's just too much to deal with. Uh, oh my god, they have a full 4 field of deads? Yeah, like if we had a Wrath. Yep. I mean this matchup can be basically solved with just a couple cards. Like Massacre Worm, because they just have to play into it, or even like a Virulent Plague or whatever, but if you're gonna give up Lurrus, then might as well go crazy. Um but I literally like this is I think my first time playing against Titan with this deck, and I played like 50 matches. So kind of bad variance. Maybe it was foolish of me to presume the deck dead. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're just dead. Like now we just don't have outs. GG's. All right, match number 2, and it looks like we're playing against the Orion deck, which I love to see. This deck eats other control decks for lunch. There's the combination of really cheap cards, so you can go under them, and the dig through time loop, and also just having the engine of Valki Jace, which is both basically better than anything else you can do in the mirror outside of some like weird stuff. Um, but yeah, it's a really good value engine in like these control mirrors, and it's also cheap to get down, so you can force it through counter spells. So this matchup is pretty good. Looks like I'm playing against mono blue snow here, though. I don't know what's going on. This deck looks kind of unserious. I'm not gonna lie. Like I get that you're playing Yorion, but Omen of the Sea stopped being playable in 2020. I don't know. Does it still see playing Pioneer and the Enigmatic Incarnation X? Maybe I'm wrong, but certainly not on Timeless. This card's not playable. But yeah, we'll see what they've got. Fairy Time Raveler, yeah. All of these cards just line up really badly into Bowmasters. Bounce my Bearmasters, sure. Nice repulse that just was like a 0 for 1 almost, because I guess it did replace itself, but I also got my Bowmasters back to retrigger the ETB, so not a great exchange, tempo, mana, or card advantage wise. Not a kind of the 3 metrics that matter, especially in this matchup. And opponents just got the all basics mana base. Yep. Ah, I've been proven wrong. Alright, let me just kind of feel like just jamming the Bowmasters, because I have this dig through time, so I just kind of want to jam into their spells and fill up my graveyard. Yep, counter spell, that's fine. And I'm just gonna fire this brainstorm. No fear of Bowmasters, so we can do that. Should have been afraid of Dovin's veto, I guess. Sure. I mean, now I'll just get down to Jace, though. And Dovin's hit was really good in this matchup, but they kind of wasted it, so don't mind that. And now we just pass the turn back. Don't really want to get hit by a Fairy 5 is like what I'm worried about, I guess. I assume that's their top end. Maybe they got some Yorion stuff going on. Nonsense. Yeah, it's kind of threat waiting room here. Yorion to hand. Love to see that. And now the Stig's online, and Jace is going ham. The Mystic Sanctuary, maybe that was wrong, actually. I don't know. Because in these control matchups, gonna have... I'll just keep that on top, actually. In these control matchups, you're basically always just gonna have access to Mystic Sanctuary at a lot of different points. And so you want to kind of pick and choose precisely when you use it, because you only have 2, and you will like run out, so you can't get like... So I wouldn't recommend getting like Brainstorms back, because then you would get Digs back later. As opposed to like in, aggro matchups where it's like, well, by the time I'm running out of Mystic Sanctuaries, you're probably running out of outs. So it really doesn't matter. Again, totally happy to fight over this. Basically, this is not really like a blink first kind of thing. It's more of just like a, I would love to spend my mana, and I would love to see you spend your mana if you're able to, because I'm just going to cast the Stake through time and outvalue you, and I've got this Jace going. So the more we just kind of squabble over these little spells, the better, and randomly this Bowmaster is resolving, so they're kind of dead to it. I mean, would not be surprised to see a Swords here, but... Oh dear. Oh, you sweet summer child. What is... I'm sorry, this has gotta be... This has gotta be the absolute worst card into Bowmasters. Like, the 1/1 bird dies to Bowmasters. Then, when it deals damage to a player, it's again dies to Bowmasters when you draw a card. Wow, this is some nonsense. I am sorry to my opponent for what I am doing for them. I'm just gonna fire off the dig now, because I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary back probably a counterspell, or the dig itself. I guess I'll keep the Jason. Yeah, I'll keep Luris cards, and then if something needs to be a Mystic Sanctuary back, I can. Sure, I'll just use them and then dig. Oh, why not? Into... Honestly, I don't know, just take the Supreme Verdict. I don't know. Like, they're kind of just gonna lose, right? I actually just don't want to get anything back. Yeah, whatever. Attack for 6. Presumably they chump. Oh, what a champ. Gotta get that card draw in. Yes, sir. Now there's... If they find the land, they can get this Yorion down, which is somewhat relevant, but I will just dig again. Find ideally like a second Bowmasters to remove the bird and force them to jump with Yorion. Oops. Didn't find the land to resolve the Yorion. Fair enough. Yep. That's fine. I just want to take Verdict because it has me killing them faster. If they Verdict the Bowmasters, then I definitely can win the longer game. I just wanted to get them dead. Alright, let's see. Let's bring our counter spells and our hand disruption and our card draw, and let's see. Remove we have to board out and board things in accordingly. I guess I'll bring in like the hearses, the grinding matchup, and then I can so I'll bring in the edicts about that, and then anything else I don't want. Looks good. Alright, let's run it. And one of hearse, maybe it's like a little suboptimal, but it's generally still gonna be fine, and I don't feel like putting more cards for the control matchup in the sideboard. It's already a good matchup. This is a little sketchy. But on the other hand, it has kind of like everything I need, and I'm very likely to find I was gonna say fetch land off the brainstorm. That's perfect. I'm just gonna not even brainstorm, so I don't need to save the fetch. I'm just gonna fetch and look for more lands. Because the thing is like about my hand is that there's basically nothing I want to put back except this second Valki. So I can just kind of do that at my leisure. And we found another fetch land, which is great. What? Okay, opponent is cooking. I actually think I don't want to let that resolve. I mean, worst case, it just eats a Veil of Summer, which is fine. I kind of want to just fire off this Spell Pierce, because it will be getting them lands. If they have a way to convert that into card advantage, it could be a little scary. Maybe it's wrong to Spell Pierce it, but I just am not exactly sure what to expect. It seems like kind of safe to do so. So they pause their size. Oh, yep, definitely right to do so, it seems. Oh god, opponent. This ain't it. So 5 cards. You know what? I am just going to jam this dig. Because if it gets counter, I'm just going to play Jace and then exile Tibalt. And the thing about Tibalt in these control matchups is the reason this pact is so good is you slip Jace through, it's 2 mana. Maybe they fed over it. Maybe they're like, yeah, deal with Jace another time. And you exile the Valki, and then you pass. And then next turn, you get to cast Valki for free, so you actually just have all your mana up to fight over it. I'll just take a Mana Drain and a Bowmasters, and this game is over. Like over. Guess I do need quadruple blue here, which is not too big of an issue. But I go for a counter spell. I go for a Mana Drain. I realize I should have Mana Drained in my second main phase. They go for an Omen of the Sea. That's fine. Never punished. And yeah, this is just over. Luckily, this does mean we'll have time for a third match of this video. So, yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that once I finish off poor Lipton tea here. Yep, that's an exiled Valky, and I will literally just counter anything they do, and if they don't, I will just spend my mana on the Bowmasters. Like, nothing matters. Interplanet Bacon, so they're just Interplanet Bacon. They're just playing Super Friends here. Nice, good casual magic. What's it gonna be? You have priority. Narset. Nah. I think I'll pass on Narset. I got a Water Grave. Sometimes you... Oops. Well, I was gonna Mana Drain it, but this is fine too. I guess I'll just Shieldred's Edict it and save the Mana Drain for future spells. Honestly, that might even be better because this Narset doesn't actually matter, and the tempo advantage of countering a spell is so huge that I'd rather save it for spells that matter. Really? I mean, this is like so unbelievably horrific. It's like basically you just 3-for-1 yourself to, yeah, trade up 1 mana. Sorry, champ. Not today. Yeah, it looks like I am at the literal bottom of Mythic. Because I think since it only counts from like when you get into Mythic, and I've lost like a couple of matches in a row after I hit Mythic, I am actually at like the literal bottom of Mythic, and so I need to win more than a match to actually start gaining rank. And as people enter Mythic, they'll enter at a higher MMR than me and just push me down further, which is kind of funny. But I do plan to do some clickbaiting later in the month as well, so we're gonna have to grind up a bit. Anyway, I'll see you in the next match. All right. Looks like I got a solid hand once again. Nice cheeky Eastern Scolding into Drown Lock or Man in Raid. Eastern Scolding generally is pretty good against Giganta decks because they've got, assuming this is Jund mid-range, which is the most likely Giganta deck, though they do have a pretty wide range. They're gonna have Deathrite Shaman, Bowmasters, potentially like Inti, maybe Tarmogoyf isn't big enough yet, etc., etc. So definitely some good options. Would love to see a Deathrite here. Deathrite is one of the reasons why I have Stern Scolding decks. It's just so annoying. And Stern Scolding. Thoughtseize is fine too, though. I'm just totally fine trading off resources. Like, that's basically in this matchup. If I make it to the long game, I'll be very likely to win. But the main way to lose is get aggroed out by like Deathrite Shaman into, like a threat into another threat, and I can only like play one answer a turn, and maybe I have like a cut down, and they have like a 3-drop or something like that I can't answer. So that's honestly the biggest risk in this matchup. Keep a fetch land on top. I do need to hit my land drops here. It's a little annoying because this makes it my digs worse. This is probably not it for the opponent. Also, I see a lot of people like really scared of the Valkyries and Jaces and using them early, but that's usually incorrect because that's only going to really matter in the late game unless I have just randomly spiked into both. So I generally believe that's not a good play. And again, opponent's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. I don't even know if that would be like the correct description, but they're just kind of screwed is what I'm trying to say. They don't have many outs, basically. I mean, they're going to reanimate here. Clearly, the only reason they would keep this kind of hand is because of reanimate. Don't listen to me, I guess. What do I know? Bottom player in Mythic, by the way. Um, I'm just totally fine passing back and forth here. Oh, as soon as I land this mana drain, I'm bringing Lurrus to hand, and I will play draw go. Yeah, I'm a control deck. You're a mid range deck. That's fine. Stern Scolding. Adios. God, Stern Scolding is just so good. Tapping out for something? Nope. Alright, let's see if we can hit the stop these. Kind of curious what's going on in their hand. Bowmasters, this one I can't counter because I need to leave up a counter spell for their turn, so I will just fatal push it probably. That's fine. York Army isn't too big of a deal. Be able to clean it up with my own at some point. Okay, so 2-drop central as I kind of predicted. Here's the thing, right? None of these cards actually matter because I plan to counter every single one of them. So I suppose I will take like, does it even matter what I take? I don't know. What are they gonna do on their turn? If they get to Jarsoul, they're gonna Jarsoul, but I kind of want them to Jarsoul. Guess I'll take a Goif is the scariest card, maybe, or Perilous Iteration. Maybe I'm supposed to just take Perilous Iteration because if we do get to like a grindy late game, it's the best card. I think I'm fine with that. Come on. No? Alright, well, it'll push your Bowmasters. You're gonna have to do something here. On one hand, like, I'm rooting for them to do something, but it's also like, if they don't, that's also fine by me. It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, I'll just drain this. I don't care. I have counter spells for days. Counter spells for days. I'm really killing it. This video. Someone give me a raise. I guess some of you are probably arena zoomers that don't get it. Daze, D-A-Z-E, as in the 2-mana counter target spell unless I pay one. You can also cast it by picking up an island card. Hilarious, I know. Gotta cast something here. Come on. What are we doing? I'm falling asleep here. I mean, presumably this means I draw Bowmasters. Otherwise, this just makes no sense. But it just doesn't matter because as soon as I get this Lurrus down, I'll just recast the Bowmasters and kill theirs, and everything will be right with the world once again. And oh, that's actually kind of awkward. Yeah, fair enough. Um, I don't have to go for anything here quite yet. This bolt is basically just has like a would the Lurrus have a I don't know how to phrase that exactly, but the I guess the bolt is in an arranged marriage with the Lurrus. It is Thoughtseize? I mean, I might as well mana drain Thoughtseize. Like, they're gonna see my hand. I don't have anything else to spend my mana on. Might as well get my 1 mana from it. And then I'll Tarmogoyf and I'll round and lock it. And then I'll have 6 mana on my turn. What exactly do I want to do? I could play Lurrus, Valki, Jarsil. I think I'll draw for turn since I actually kind of want to draw land here so I can have Lurrus 2-drop from the graveyard and counterspell up. Huh. So let's see. I would cast a Thoughtseize taking Lightning Bolt. Not have no. Thoughtseize taking Jarsil. And then it gets bolted. And then I have Lurrus. Yeah. Seems fine to me. Alternatively, I could kill the Bowmasters, but letting them get the ball rolling on Jarsil. Wait, hold on. What am I talking about? Yeah, I'm gonna Thoughtseize the Bolt. Hello? What? Because there's no more Jarsil in their hand, and then this 2/2 has to get buffed by the Inti to attack in the first place. So yeah, this actually works perfectly. I mean, if they find a bolt off the Inti, then I guess it's a little sketchy. But or a push. But other than that, And even then, I think it would be fine because then they just wouldn't have a way to answer Luris. So I would go Luris. No point in blocking because that was trample. I would go Luris, hold up draw on the lock, and then once I untap with Luris, the game kind of ends. I wouldn't be able to play a 2-drop because I need to hold up draw on the lock. Yeah, no, it should be good. I just won't crack the Delta for now. I just don't need to. Okay, so let's just cast something off Darcel. Will this get legend rolled? I actually kind of have no clue. Huh. Well, it's fine. I'll just draw on the lock to kill the ENT. I suppose I should have killed the army, actually. Bit of a misstep there. Since I could just cut down NT. What am I doing here? I want to hold up John on the lock. Yeah, I should have killed the army and then just cut down the NT. What am I? Yeah, I guess I'll play the Luris. Yeah. I'll just hump the orc. Doesn't have trample anymore. They can't draw anything because I have this drawn on the lock. So yeah, this is actually totally fine. Actually, I could block with the... You know what? Even better? I'll block with the Luris. Easy. Okay, so that's Shadow deck. Good to know. No other reason why you would chalk there. A lot of Jund decks are now Shadow decks because of Reanimate, so it makes sense. Yeah. Good setup. Yep. I would have gonna just trade off Luris and recast it with Jarsoul. So. Totally fine. And they knew about the John Lock, which is why they scooped. They don't have a counterspell, so they're never coming back. I just love that. When your opponent knows you have a counterspell, so they just have nothing they can draw. Very satisfying. I'm not usually a control player. I do prefer playing combo decks generally, synergy decks, stuff like that. But every so often I do partake. Let's see. So hers is actually not bad here, but it's kind of sketchy on the draw. I think I'll just bring the soul guide for the troll stuff and the drown. Valki is kind of sketchy here because the life loss actually does matter a lot. I guess I'll cut down on some brainstorms and baubles because of bowmasters. And I can bring in like a spell pierce and shield take on a cut down. Maybe I want 2 edicts. I wonder if I want 2 edicts. It's kind of a lot of cut downs maybe. But they do have NTs. No, I think 3 cut downs is fine. Against decks with NT cut down is gonna have a lot of targets. 2 edicts just a little clunky on the draw. Having too much 2-mana removal is not great. It is relevant because it hits troll. It's a really clean way to answer troll, which is good. But that's why we've got spell pierces for on the draw as well. And the drown locks. Yeah, I mean this hand's not really mulliganable, but also does kind of lose to reanimated troll. I don't think it's worth trying to get fancy with like an island of block spell pierce though. Just mill the bubble. It would be at the point where it gets hit by bowmasters, which does not seem very appealing to me. And putting bauble in the graveyard and then drawing for turn is almost the same as cracking the bauble because you get the extra card either way and the card in the graveyard either way. So it doesn't actually matter. Okay, this makes me a little bit hopeful of no reanimation on turn 2. Anime is really busted in Jund, I will say. Okay, that's actually just perfect for me. You know what? I mean, this is actually maybe I shouldn't have played the Water Grave because I'm basically full gambling on the fact that they have bowmasters, and I'm saying that I'm fine stern scolding it because I don't have a good target for stern scolding in the future. And the thing I'm most scared about on 3, which is a jar soul, wouldn't actually do anything, so I'd be able to drown lock it. Doing that is a little bit sketchy. Playing the tapped Water Grave specifically is a little sketchy because then I can't mana drain. They don't have a bowmasters, and that's not great for me. So I probably shouldn't have done that. It was greedy, but it does make me seem really smart, I will say. So maybe I just shouldn't have told you it was bad. I'm taking it. A little bit worried about Veil this summer here. Veil, presumably they have it. Like most Gen decks have some number of Veil, if not the full 4, then like 2 or 3. And at the point where I can't counterspell twice, it's really awkward. Wouldn't mind them animating a troll at this point though, because I'll just drain it, get the Veil summoned, and then I'll untap and unlock it. I have enough cards in graveyard where it just dies to Channel Lock. One issue with Drown is that if they have an early troll, then sometimes it can get around Drown. They don't have enough cards in the graveyard, but not really the case generally this late in the game. Definitely not the case right now. Death Shadow. Well, I can't counter it because of Darcel. So please no Veil of Summers. Okay, there's that at least. Okay, then this is fine. Because I could just generally lock the other one once it gets too big. Yeah, it's too much of an issue. We are getting up to this dig as well pretty soon. Oh dear. Oh, that is. Oh. Okay, well, I guess we can save the theatrics because I do exactly what I needed. Yeah, that's very convenient. Mana lines up a little awkwardly though. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So they didn't have Veil last turn, so I'm gonna gamble them not having Veil this turn. If they have a Jarsoul, then that cannot be allowed. But they would play it pre-combat. So if they have a Jarsoul, I'll counter it. If they don't, then I'll kill the troll in combat. This is the plan. And if they drew Veil of Summer, they have priority because of the Death Ray, so this is meaning. Okay. Alright. Small issue here. We are falling a little behind, but them taking a turn off here is just exactly what I need. And now I feel pretty good about my position in this game because I'm going to Mana Drain Bowmasters on top, dig through time. They're on 5. They might start gaining life here because they are pretty low. But I can actually like really pressure them here if I find a second Bowmasters and can start attacking through this Death Right. Yeah, it goes aggro. This can actually be like a real thing with Shadow where they just go like too low. And I guess I'm not digging through time quite yet because of this Death Right. It's annoying. Unless they don't do anything, in which case I will. Because when they pass the turn, it means I have a Bowmasters, like pass the turn with a bunch of mana, but it means I have Bowmasters, and I have my own Bowmasters for their Bowmasters, so I'd actually love to see them do that. Yeah, okay, actually this is totally fine. Because now I'll dig to empty my graveyard. And would love to see like I guess I just take land mana drain. I'll bauble, why not? Don't really want to go for the chase here, especially now that I have the bauble as well. Don't really care about bobbling myself since I basically have like no bad draws, and I would really like to know what's on top of their deck, and I don't want to sack this fetch right away because I could need it to get Mystic Sanctuary or a Surveil or whatever. And I could also draw 1-drops off the bauble, so I don't want to get a tap land accidentally. Okay, fails to find on the fetch. Sure. Then I'll do this now so that I can have the card in their turn. Bolt on top does not really matter. It's fine. I'm a ways away from getting burnt out. Okay, I guess I don't have Bowmasters. Sure. Cast a spell. Come on. What? I mean, sure, I'll bite. Going face here just doesn't seem necessary because if I have like a Bowmasters and this bolt, I'm not gonna be able to get in for enough damage anyway. This seems pretty good because now they're like, well, do I bolt the? Yeah, they're waiting to bolt the Bowmasters, so they give up the Death Ray Shaman, which is excellent for me because that guy's really annoying. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that stages the game. That stages the game. All right, so that's going to do it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. This deck right now I think is pretty powerful. Just the combination of Jace Valki with the Dimir control shell that was popularized by Mistman earlier, and is still pretty solid. Still just definitely has legs. This deck definitely is pretty difficult to play, I would say. You really need to get sequencing right because if you get punished really hard by like slight missteps. So it's definitely got a learning curve, I would say, much like a lot of the combo decks I like to make content on. Yeah, I think it's pretty powerful. It definitely takes some getting used to the playstyle. And it might not seem like that insane on paper, but then in the games, it not often just like goes kind of crazy. Um, Playing against it, I will say often you just feel like you kind of have no outs, like nothing you do actually matters because they always have the answer. And you know that is often just the case that you go like answer, Jace, exile Valky, and your opponent's looking at their hand of like kind of just nothing that will resolve and going, well, guess I'll die. So yeah, I really enjoyed playing this deck, even though you know a little bit of a departure from kind of my usual style of deck. And I hope that if you try it out, you'll like it as well. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye.